I went out on a date. This man, I asked him a lot of questions because I like to talk to people. And he said at the end, we were having dinner, he said, and at the end, he said, Kathleen, I don't know much about you. I said, well, you didn't ask me anything.
Good for you.
That's what I said to him. I said, you didn't ask me anything.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I always say, when in doubt, ask a question, right? If you're sitting there thinking, oh, geez, what should I say? Ask a question. Throw it back on them. Yeah. What do you
I was asking a lot of questions about him, not once. That's why I told him. Yeah. So maybe I helped him for someone else.
Well, I think that's very true. And the more you do it is like practice. The more you do it, the more you learn. I mean, part of the reason why I think I'm so good at helping people is geez, I must have been on hundreds of dates over the years in New York. And I could bore you for hours telling you stories about bad dates that I went on, so that the really good ones really stand out because you've got something to compare it to.
And you also have the confidence too, Donna. When you go out on a lot of dates like that, the woman, 80. I was like, 80? Oh my gosh. But she met her partner.
But, you know, I would venture to say good for her that she wasn't being as discriminating about who she went to meet. Because when I was on the apps years ago, I was very, very picky about who I took the time to actually even have a phone call with, let alone meet in person. I probably did miss some people that, you know, and I will say this about people too, because I remember specifically with Match.com, it is like a daily job that you have to do every day. Because there was a guy that I met because he sent me an email that said, hey, I hope I'm not bothering you. I just thought I'd try one more time. But it was the first email I saw of his. Because, you know, if someone's an attractive person, they're getting a lot of emails. So, or, you know, I know most of it's different like that, but Match.com still works that you actually get emails from people. Yeah, I went to go meet that guy and he was like, yeah, I'd actually emailed you twice before. And I was like, I didn't see that, right? And he was an interesting guy. Like I was happy that I met him. So don't be afraid to send more than one email because that doesn't mean that they saw it first. And also too, like the mood can just strike you differently. I know that's true of movies, right? Sometimes I've seen a movie and I just didn't like it. And then it's on TV or something, and I end up sitting down and watching it and going, oh, that was a really good movie. You know, so it's the same thing with people, right? They can rub you the wrong way one time, but then
give them another chance sometimes, unless they're so rude and whatever, then you don't. But on the whole, it's like 3 times, I think. You go out on 3 dates, taking your time to get to know someone too, instead of jumping right into intimacy. Oh, do you remember when I told you about my one client and it was very fast and furious, and it's not going so well now because it was too fast and furious.
Things that start fast and fast,
they die out.
I've just seen that over and over and over again. If it's a good connection, what's the hurry? Slow it down.
It'll be there down the road, because he said to me, he said, yeah, Kath, you know, there's some weekends we don't see each other. And he goes, you know, we're not fighting, but we're finding like these little faults. I said, and how long have you been dating? Not even 3 months. I said, I am so sorry. You should not be having any of that at 3 months. It should be the honeymoon phase to like, maybe you would have that at 8 months. Right. You know, but the first 6, you're just finding out, you're like, oh, this person is fabulous. You shouldn't be having any of that. I know it's not going to last. I hope for him it does, but it doesn't sound like it's going to.
No, it's just the nature of how it goes. You know, it's like people that rush in fast have a lack of boundaries, and usually their relationships don't last long anyway. So they know that they just have no boundaries about how fast they move, which is a big mistake.
It is a big mistake. And also, too, please, gentlemen, don't text a woman and ask her out by text. Please pick up the phone.
Well, the phone is coming back in fashion. I'm a big fan of a phone call. You can learn so much about somebody from a phone call. And a text message has no inflection in the voice. It has no...
People fight by text.
Oh, it's ridiculous. They break up by text.
Never let your fingers dance across the keyboard. That is my motto. Never. No matter what is going on with the other person, you just don't do that.
Coming down and waiting to have a conversation about it is a significantly better way to handle anything, really. Coming from a calm place with I statements about how you feel about something, not how they made you, right?
It's always about how you feel.
Yeah.
Take that word you out.
Well, I always say have an intention, right? If you're wanting someone to be more loving towards you, you can't be angry at them. That's not going to make them more loving to you, right?
Be more loving yourself.
Exactly. You need to inspire them to want to be loving to you. Watch the whole podcast to get the rest of this conversation.